What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about my top 5 favorite must-draft wingers. Now, I do know that the right wing position is scarce this season, so I made sure to include 3 dual eligibility wingers. But before we jump in this video, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you follow us on Twitter at fantasy_puck. If you want access to our premium tools, projections, the draft sheet, trade analyzer, and more, head over to our Patreon. Without further ado, let's jump into the must draft wingers video. Starting off this video, I want to give you one of the sneakiest plays this season, Artturi Lehkonen of the Colorado Avalanche. I'm sure we all remember Nathan MacKinnon's high praise for Lehkonen in the playoffs, as he had an extremely strong showing with 8 goals and 14 points in the Avalanche's 2021 Cup run. Lehkonen was traded at the deadline from Montreal and shuffled between line 1 and 3, but did spend about 25% of his time on ice with the top line featuring Nathan MacKinnon in the regular season. Lehkonen put up 6 goals and 9 points in 16 games with Colorado, while adding 45 shots and 22 hits, just a 64-point pace. But the main reason I love Lehkonen this season is because of the moves that Colorado made in the offseason now opens the door for Lehkonen to play in Colorado's top 6 and even the top power play unit. But let's step back for a second and look at 2 things. First, the changes that the Avalanche made to their forwards. The Avalanche lost Nazem Kadri, their coveted 87-point second-line center, and Andrei Burakovsky, a top 6 winger who scored 61 points last season. Who's going to replace them? It has to be one of Lehkonen or Rodriguez, but why would they trade away a first-round pick last season just to play him on the third line? The second thing I want to look at is when Kadri was out for the first few games of the Tampa series, who stepped up to play on the power play 1? The answer, Artturi Lehkonen. This screenshot is the power play time on ice from game 1 of that series, the Big 4, and Lehkonen. The same thing for game 2. Lehkonen skated 4 minutes and 24 seconds on the top power play. He's being completely slept on this season, a top 6 role in the best team in hockey, and the potential to play on the top power play unit, yet his ADP is at 164. I love Lehkonen this season. I think he could score 60 points this year, and maybe even more if he can develop some chemistry. Moving on, guys, you knew it was coming. Seth Jarvis of the Carolina Hurricanes. Please own this guy in all of your leagues. Maybe the most undervalued guy in the draft. Jarvis is currently sitting around ADP 160 or 170 and should be going in the top 100. Jarvis's rookie season last year as a 19-year-old was extremely underrated. 17 goals, 40 points, a plus 11 rating in 68 games while playing under 14 minutes per night. I outlined this in my sleepers video, but in case you haven't watched it yet, 46% of Jarvis's time on ice and in the regular season was spent with Aho, 25% with Teravainen, and 25% with Svechnikov. As a rookie, he proved enough to play with the best players on Carolina, and we should only anticipate the same thing to roll over into 2022. We can't forget Jarvis in the playoffs either. 85% of his time on ice, 5-on-5 is with Aho on the top line. If this is any indication for what's to come for 2022, Jarvis can be a league winner. We project Jarvis to play 74 games this season, score 22 goals, 29 assists, add 137 shots and 86 hits. He has dual position eligibility, which is extremely important this year, so make sure you draft him in all of your leagues for massive upside. Jumping over to what seems to be a forgotten player this offseason, Rickard Rakell of the Pittsburgh Penguins. For my deep league players, you need to have this guy on your radar. Daily Faceoff predicts Rakell to start the season on line 1 with Crosby and Gensel. Honestly, if I had to guess, I would say that Russ maintains his spot in line 1, and we see Rakell move down to line 2 with Malkin. Rakell has been a sleeper for quite some time, but the Ducks were simply never good when he was there. After being traded to the Penguins at the deadline, Rakell scored 4 goals, 13 points, adding 48 shots in just 19 games. It's important to note that he played 17 minutes per night in the top 6, which is where the true value is. In 323 minutes time on ice with the Penguins last season, he skated 113 minutes with Malkin, or 35%, and 118 minutes with Crosby, or 37% of his time on ice. He was hurt in the playoffs, so we don't officially know the plans for the Penguins, but in Game 1, prior to injury, he skated in the top 6 with Malkin and power play 2. Rakell has an excellent floor. He sits around 9 shots per 60 career average and should have over 100 hits this season if he stays healthy. The Penguins are going to be very competitive this season, and every player in that top 6 does have injury history, meaning Rakell can easily find his way to the top line and the top power play unit. We project Rakell this season to score 21 goals, 38 assists, take 204 shots, and have 97 hits. At ADP 170, he's basically been undrafted in 10 to 12 team leagues. The next must-draft winger, if he can stay healthy this season, is Jakub Vrana of the Detroit Red Wings. My first ever video back in December of 2020 featured Vrana as a sleeper when he was on the Capitals, and here we are 2 years later. Vrana seems poised for a big season with the Wings this year. He was out for majority of last season because of off-season shoulder surgery, but he did regain strength quickly and helped Detroit make a late season push. In 26 games, he scored 13 goals, 19 assists, added 65 shots. While being eased in, he averaged just 14 minutes and 56 seconds time on ice. With the offseason additions the Wings made, picking up Kopp and David Perron, Vrana now finds himself in Detroit's top 6 with 2 strong second-line players. Not only will he be on the top line, but it's very probable that Vrana will start on the Red Wings' top power play unit. Since returning to the lineup, Vrana had the 3rd most power play time on ice, behind only rookie sensations Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond. Another winger that's pretty much going undrafted in leagues at ADP 166, Vrana's poised for a massive season. I know all the players in this video are late round players, but I do that on purpose. To end off this video, I want to give you a winger who's great value in the early rounds at his ADP, Evander Kane of the Edmonton Oilers. I know that right wing is scarce this season, but for the sake of keeping it even, the first 3 players have left wing, right wing eligibility, while Vrana and Evander are both left wingers. At ADP 63, Kane is being drafted in the late 5th rounds, but should be going in the mid to late 3rd or early 4th round. As we all know, Kane signed with the Oilers partway through the season last year, and a great coaching decision led them to start Kane on the first line with McDavid. He scored 22 goals and 39 points in 43 games, adding a plus 25 rating, 152 shots, and 135 hits. Absolutely outrageous stats. His 82-game pace last season projects him at 42 goals, 75 points, 290 shots, and 257 hits. These are literally better than Brady Tkachuk numbers, who's arguably my favorite fantasy player. Kane and McDavid played 519 minutes together last season, or 62% of the time, not to mention Kane's absurd 19 minutes and 27 seconds average time on ice last year. He is once again projected on the team's top line. They really have no reason to move him away from McDavid. Power play 1 can happen, although it seems like they prefer Hyman there for now, but even at 5-on-5, Kane is an absolute beast. Kane can easily finish as a top 10 fantasy player in most leagues at his ceiling, and we currently project him as a rank 15 player. Our projections have Kane at 34 goals, 31 assists, 265 shots, and 174 hits, which may actually be a conservative projection given the upside playing with McDavid. That will do it for our must draft wingers video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.